Welcome back to BT here on a drizzly Friday morning. Well, tomorrow is election day here in our province, and we're going to get into this a little bit more and bring in Sean Holman from Calgary, who is, an avid fan of politics and follows what happens on the West Coast here very closely. Sean, welcome to BT.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, let's talk about the momentum that John Horgan has going into election day tomorrow here in BC.
Yeah, it's not really that surprising. He's run a very competent government since being elected, since his party was elected. So I think it would make sense that British Columbians would want to return him and his party to government. So no real surprises there.
What do you think the key thing went wrong? I mean, there's a lot of factors with the Liberal campaign, but what do you think went wrong with Andrew Wilkinson as their leader right now?
Well, I think Andrew Wilkinson was the biggest problem in some ways. I mean, I covered provincial politics when Gordon Campbell was premier and leader of the BC Liberals. And Andrew Wilkinson, to be frank, has less charisma than Gordon Campbell did. And Gordon Campbell didn't have a lot. So I think the position that the BC Liberals find themselves in right now is most likely as a result of their leader. Not to mention some of their policies, but I think on the campaign trail, if you don't have a leader who is charismatic, if you don't have a leader who is dynamic, then that's going to really hurt your chances at the ballot box.
And the BC Green Party seems to have some momentum as well with new leader Sonia Furstenau. What are your thoughts on her?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think she performed extremely well during the debates. And I think that could result in dividends for her at the ballot box and result in dividends for her party at the ballot box when British Columbians do actually go to vote. And really, I mean, the Green Party as well is a party that is all about one of the biggest issues that we have right now, which is climate change and the existential threat posed by climate change. So I think in the future, even if you don't see it in this election, there's a bright one for the Green Party, even if there's a pretty dark one for British Columbians and the rest of the world as a result of global heating.
Right. So when British Columbians head to the polls tomorrow for voting day, what are some of the most important things they should have on their minds when they cast their vote?
Well, in some ways, the ballot box question in this election is, do you want less democracy in British Columbia? Because let's be frank, we wouldn't be having this election if John Horgan and the NDP had a majority government that allows them to do whatever they want. And this election is about them wanting to get the votes in order to have that power. But the problem is that if British Columbians want to say no to that ballot box question, do you want less democracy in British Columbia? There's really no easy way for them to do that. Minority governments are generally speaking a fluke, and because British Columbians voted against electoral reform in the last referendum on that particular subject, we just don't have an easy way of voicing dissent and creating situations in the legislature where the government has to listen to MLAs, individual MLAs, as opposed to imposing party discipline. And we don't have an easy situation where British Columbians can have more influence over the legislature between elections.
All right, we really appreciate your insights, Sean. Thank you so much. We have to leave it there for time, but we'll all be heading to the polls there tomorrow. And thanks again for your expertise.
No worries whatsoever.
All right, you take care. That's